The Tesla Model Y is an amazing vehicle. You get a heck of a lot of car for the money, but there is one thing that this car doesn't have that its brother and sister cars, the S and the X, do, and that is ventilated seats. Well, I have a product for you that just might solve that problem. It's summertime here in Iowa. It is the low 80s, but inside this car right now, it is almost 110 degrees. And when you have to get driving in a car when it's this warm, it can be a little uncomfortable. Man, it's warm in here. But fortunately for me, I have a secret weapon. It's right here. Now, my friends at Tilliard sent me a set of ventilated seat covers for the Model Y. They fit like a glove. They come in black and white. It's probably just easier to show you exactly what they look like, how do they work, how do they get installed, and do they actually cool? Let's just get into it. So here they are, ventilated seat covers. And as you can see, they actually look like they're almost supposed to be there from the factory. The seat covers are well made and they fit like a glove. And I'll show you how to install one here in just a second. And what makes these work is that inside these seat cushions are a number of micro fans that will circulate air up underneath your lower side and your lower back to provide that cooling action. And they're all controlled right here from this little keypad. And another thing that's really cool is that even though they're plugged in all the time, they will only activate when you sit down. Now let's talk about how they work and how they feel. Sitting in the seat, you can kind of definitely feel the difference. There is something underneath you. It is a little firmer. I wouldn't say that I can feel the individual fan dimples, but you can definitely tell that this isn't a factory seat. Is it uncomfortable? I would say no. Is it as comfortable as the stock seat? I would also say no. So there may be a little bit of a trade-off there. The other thing let's talk about is noise. How loud are these things? Well, they do make some noise, and it's probably difficult to capture this on camera for you to hear it and experience it, but I would say that it is probably about as loud as when you're running the climate controls with a relatively high fan speed. You notice it's there. However, when it's 110 degrees in your car, you may not care that it's a little bit loud if you're cooling your body with these ventilated seats. Which leads me to, how well do they actually work? Well, I have to admit that they work pretty darn well. Sitting in these seats for a period of time, they do actually cool your body. You can definitely tell the difference, especially with black interior like I have in this car. They make a big difference. So they get the job done. And are they as good as what Tesla would do if they came factory? Absolutely not. But because you don't have that option today, and this is the only option you have, I would say this is a perfectly legitimate, good ventilated seat option if you're looking to add that to your Model Y. Now, when you purchase this set, this is what you get. This is one of the seat covers. It is completely one piece. It has the integrated controls there on the bottom, and it has a hole opening for the headrest. And I'll show you how that goes together here in a second. On the back side is the business end. You have some wires. You have this section here that houses your fans for the back, and also the bottom. There's also these pieces here that will allow it to more easily be tucked inside and hold the seat cover to the car. I'll show you how that works here in a second. So that's what you get. Full set. You have the option of buying just one side or both sides if you want, if you're a solo driver and you don't want to spend the money on both sets. But for now, let's install these things. Now, the first step in installing these ventilated seat covers is to put the seat cover over your headrest, and it will be a tight fit, and just work at it from both sides and you'll get it on there. And make sure that you get this edge here tucked up underneath the bottom of the headrest. So let's go ahead and do that. You'll find that once you get it down low enough, start tucking the edge underneath the headrest, and that will actually free this up to make it a little bit easier as you go. Next, just pull out the sides. Make sure they're tucked around. We'll get to cleaning this up here in a second. Now the back is pretty well installed. Do have some tucking of the actual fabric inside the panels, which we'll do here in a second. Now the next thing we need to do is secure the base. Let me show you how to do that. Underneath here, there are the power cord, which will come out the side here, but there are these plastic wing pieces, and they actually go down in here. Push them in, flip them 90 degrees, that will hold the base. Let's go ahead and do that. Next, we need to secure the front, and they give you these clips, and you just basically have to find somewhere underneath to get these things secured. Now the next thing, in order to give it that more polished look, we want to go ahead and start tucking this in under this rear panel here. Give it a little bit of tug, pull and prod it a little bit, and it will go. And you can see now, compared to the factory, again, if you look close, you can tell this is a seat cover. It's not perfect, but I actually think it looks pretty good. I want to pop right in here real quick and make an observation. I'm filming this section of the video about 2 weeks after I filmed the installation. And what makes this different is I took these ventilated seats on a 2,000-mile road trip cross country. And I have some interesting observations about how well they work. First off, they're relatively comfortable. And if you're not sitting in the car for 12 hours out of a day, you're probably going to find that they're fine. If you're going to sit for more than 12 hours a day, you may find that these seats wear on you. But as far as cooling goes, your mileage varies greatly by a few conditions. One is how warm is the temperature in the car. When you get into the car and it's 110 degrees in the car and you turn on the ventilated seat, all it's doing is circulating that hot air around your back, and you really don't feel much relief from that. However, as the cabin cools down through normal cooling, it starts blowing that colder air across you, and you definitely feel it. Also, clothing makes a difference. If you're wearing cotton, breathable type materials, you're going to feel a lot more air than if you're wearing other types of materials like synthetics that don't breathe very well. Overall on this trip, I'm glad we had these ventilated seats because it was super hot, and they did help quite a bit. Instead of just cranking down the climate super cold, we were able to get a lot more relief by leaving the climate higher, being a little more efficient, and turning on these ventilated seats. So with that, carry on. There you have it, ventilated seat covers for your Model Y for both the driver and passenger. Are they right for you? Well, I'll let you make that decision on your own. If you do think they're right for you, there's a link in the description below. You can swing down to Taylor's website and pick up a set of your own. And if you do choose to purchase one, make sure you use the code IOWATESLA at checkout to save you some bucks. Now, if you're thinking about purchasing a Tesla of your own, make sure you don't miss out on some savings by using a referral link when you place that order. Use any referral link, but if you want to use mine, that would be greatly appreciated. As always, hitting that like button is appreciated, and if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video. For now, I'm going to enjoy these ventilated seats.